Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be modeling a chess player inside of Blender 2.90. So this is the chess player that we're going to be modeling inside of Blender. Now the contribution of this video is going to be to my dad. The reason why I was able to think of this video is because of my dad. Me and my dad in the evenings, in the mornings, we play chess together. It's a really fun time and it's really fun. I would also like to contribute to my brother. We also play chess together, but mostly it's playing with my dad, and I'm really enjoying my time in my quarantine time, and I'm playing chess with my dad. It's really fun. It's the most funnest part of chess. So yeah, that's the idea of today's video. We're going to be modeling a pawn inside a Blender. I thought it was easy. And yeah, the final scene will be available on my Patreon if you guys want to check it out. Here's the final scene. And yeah, you guys can get it on my Patreon. If you guys don't know what my Patreon is basically a little thing that you guys can go check out. It's like a basic site of my own, but it's like powered by Patreon, and you guys can go check it out. And there's tons of cool stuff on my Patreon, like finished render files, finished earth file, finished textures, all of them are on my Patreon. So my Patreon is absolutely awesome. You guys won't regret it. So yeah. Even this final file will be on my Patreon, like I said. It's amazing. So let's jump into today's video and let's start modeling this chess piece. Actually, let's go to a new scene and let's actually save this one as well. Why not? Let's go into new scene. Okay. So I'm just going to enable quickly my screencast keys here. Let's go here, screencast keys, and there we go. Right. So let's start by deleting our scene, quick and easy. And now let's start off by loading in a reference image. Now before modeling anything, you want a reference image, which is the most important part. And in my case, I have a chess piece reference image. Let's go to pictures and just locate a little reference image that I've saved. Like in this case, it's the wood pawn. And I'm just going to go into Blender and I'm going to put it in here. And it says trace back, race, and call. If you get this error, there's no problem. Just retry, and there you can see. But now you can see it's floating in midair because it's aligned to our view. So we can just fix that by selecting the object, going ahead and opening this, and going to view, item, go to item and reset all of these to 0. So you can easily go back here and start setting all of these to 0. So it's completely lying flat on the floor. And now let's rotate this on the x-axis 90 degrees. Let's hit RX90 to rotate this 90 degrees on the x-axis. And let's hit GZ3, about 3. That much should be fine for putting this. And why are my screencast keys off? Cool. Right. So now you can see we have a pretty basic reference image, and now you guys can download any reference image, but the reference image I'm using today will be available on my Patreon, just $5 a month, guys. Go check it out. It's amazing. Right, let's hit 1 on my number pad key to go into front view mode. And now you guys might wonder that what do we do now? Now you can add a base mesh like a cylinder. So you could go to add mesh and you can add a cylinder. Now a cylinder would work fine for this scene, but in my case I would use a circle to match the height and length of this. So let's add a mesh and let's add a little circle to our scene. So let's go to mesh, circle. You can see a circle has came down here. So let's hit GZ and start positioning this to where we want. So in this case it's here. And let's also go into wireframe mode so we can start editing this properly. And let's go into edit mode for more accessibility. So first of all, I want to first match the height of this. So let's hit EZ to extrude this on the Z axis. So let's just make this as tall as about the border, right about there. And let's hit S to scale it inside of there. And let's, if we don't match, let's actually grab it here so it's matching the thing. It just has to match properly to the reference image, but make sure it's like kind of similar to the reference image. Now you can see that we have a base mesh. Cool, it looks like a cone. Not that good. So let's go back into wireframe mode, and you can switch between wireframe mode by hitting Z and just starting going through it. Now first thing I want to do is start by creating a bottom part. So let's hit Control R to add a loop cut, basically an edge cut, I would like to call it. So let's add a loop cut and let's start placing it about here. And let's start by hitting S to scale, and then you can hit double G to bring it down. Let's hit double G to bring it down, and let's scale it again, and bam. So I think that's about great. It doesn't have to match fully, but I think it can match a little bit. So let's put another loop cut right about here, and let's hit S to scale it about there. So it's kind of matching that. Let's hit Control R again and start making another little tweak over here as well. So let's start by scaling this to the size of this. Let's hit another Control R and start scaling this to the size of that. So now we can just do this. Let's put another loop cut, and let's make it this about there, about there. Oh wait, we need to reset this. Okay, this much about here, and another one about here. I think too much, too less. Let's try about this much. How's that looking for a change? All right, that's looking pretty cool. Let's go back into one and let's head back into wireframe mode and start working on this. Let's go back into edit mode and start tweaking. I want a little shrinkiness going on in here. So let's say about there, and I want a little bit edge coming out of here. So like about, no, not here. Wait, let's retry. What just happened here? Okay, so go back into edit mode. Let's control R Z to change my mistake. And let's control R again to add another loop cut. Start positioning it in proper place, like about there. And let's start making another loop cut over here. Now I'm not going for completely matching with the pawn. I'm just trying to get the correct shape, the correct mesh. So I'm not going to be Mr. Perfect here, so I'm just going for something that's simple. So let's match up the top stuff here as well. So let's match it a little bit. And about, I think this should go about here. So GZ, line it up above the, like, completely in the Z axis. So let's apply a little scale over here as well so we can get the journal shape. Cool. Here. Let's control R here and quickly scale it down. Let's actually grab this to the top. Double G and position it there. So I think that's a pretty good base mesh. And let's actually hide the reference image by clicking the little button here. And yeah, that's looking pretty cool. Let's actually scale this down a little bit so it's nice and small. So the next thing I want you to do is go to the modifiers tab and add a modifier and apply a subsurf. And now you can see that we have this thing going on. Now let's actually also shade smooth. So right click upon and shade smooth. And now you can see we have this. Let's also turn the viewport render view to 2, same as the render, so it's nice and smooth for us. Before applying, I also want you to go into edit mode, hitting alt click on the bottom and hitting F to fill the bottom bit. Now you can see we get this thing. Just control R over here and tighten up the bottom. Cool. Now this thing looks a little bit like Rook. So let's apply the subsurf quickly and shade this smooth again. And now let's apply one last little touch here. So Shift A, add a UV sphere. Make sure your little 3D cruiser is down there. And hit G, Z, and start positioning this onto the top of this. Let's also scale this down so it's not too humongous. And let's just scale it about here. Not too much, just a little bit so it looks realistic. Now that we have that, let's actually apply another subsurf modifier over here. Now my mic is quickly hating on me. Let's don't do that. And let's also shade smooth this quickly and apply the subsurf modifier with 1 and 1 on both of these things. And turning the quality to about a 4 maybe. Let's apply the subsurf modifier and you can see that we have a beautiful looking pawn. Let's actually scale this thing up a bit so it's nice and big. And that's looking pretty realistic to me, I'm not gonna lie. Now for the shader, I'm just gonna go for something basic. So let's open up the shader editor. Now the textures are from Polygon, so you guys can go to polygon.com and check it out. I'll try and link it in the description down below if I can. But yeah. Before we start shading this, I want you to go into the object mode and click on both of these and Control J to join them. And then now you can see that they both are joined together. And let's quickly name these pawn. Yeah. So let's actually name this pawn, and let's actually give this a new material. So yeah, here we have a new material, and now you can see that this thing is one object, so now we can just make a single material for both of them. So let's start by adding an image texture. So yeah, let's add an image texture. Let's apply this image texture on the base color. Let's also apply a little mapping node behind this. Let's apply a mapping node, and let's also apply a texture coordinate node. So you'll be requiring a texture coordinate node. And now what I want you to do is take the UV coordinates of this and put it into the vector. And I want you to take the vector and put it into the vector of the image texture and open an image texture. And then go to documents and search over here wood. Now you can save this textures from Polygon in any file you want to. And I don't know why, but Polygon likes to name its texture a little bit different. So instead of diffuse or something, it would say something like color. And I've downloaded the 3K JPEG file of it. So you guys can download the same thing And yeah, go check out Polygon. It's amazing. It's by Andrew Price, the same guy who runs Blender Guru. So it's amazing. Go check it out. So let's click on his texture and actually go into rendered mode to see if it's working, and you can see it's already working. So let's quickly change over to cycles, and you can see there's no light produced inside of the scenes. So let's actually produce some lights. Let's go into the little world settings here. Let's click on environment texture, open the texture, and the one I'm going to be using for today is a hotel room. Now you can use any HDRI that is like a 360 panorama. You can use your home one as well, and all you have to do is just click on that thing and just open that image, and you can see that light is produced. Now quickly go over to film and turn on transparency so the background is transparent so it doesn't look too bad, and that's all you need to do. Now you can see that we have a pretty sick looking chess pawn. Now let's quickly edit a little bit more to this thing. So let's start off by adding another image texture. Let's use this image texture as a basic roughness. So let's search over here, wood again, and let's look for it. And you can see there's something called the reflective map. Where is it? If I can find it, there's something called REFL, which is the reflective map. And I want you to click on the reflective map so you can open it. And now open the reflective map and set it to non-color data. Now quickly drag it back and add a color ramp node so we can edit it later if we don't like it. Not a vertex color ramp node. So apply a color ramp node. Let's take this for an example, and let's take the color and put it into the factor, and take the color and put it into the roughness. And now you can see that we're getting some polished look, so I don't think so we'll be needing to edit it. And now let's apply a normal map node as well. So let's go image texture. Same thing, procedure, go to documents, search your wood, and look for the normal 16-bit. Now, when I watched the Andrew Price video, he explained that you need to use the normal map 16-bit, which is better, instead of the normal map the normal map. The difference between these two are that this is TIFF file and this is JPEG file, so I just recommend that you use the TIFF file. So use the TIFF file, set it to non-color data as well, and just apply a basic normal map here. Set it to UV map, set the strength to 0.8, which is better, and just put this into the normal, and bam, the normal map is starting to react. Now, one last node setup that we could add is the basic AO node, so let's just apply a mix RGB node here. And if you want to turn your player pawn to white, then you can definitely do that. So if you want like a white wooded pawn, then that would definitely be a nice way to do it. So just apply another image texture, open it up, go back into documents and search your wood, and just open up the AO map and set it to non-color data and put it into the second color, and you can see nothing actually happens. All you need to do is turn mix to multiply. If I can find multiply, here it is. And now you can see we have the AO map applied. Now just set the value here to 0.6 as I find that to work better instead of the scene, and there you can see that we have some AO inside of it. Now you could apply the displacement node, but I didn't find it made any difference, so I'm not going to apply it. And now we can name this material matte, just something short. So let's just close this off, and now you can see we have a pretty decent pawn. So now for the camera, all I do is add a Shift A camera, Control on number pad 0 to snap camera to view, and then I just position it, set the focal length to something like 40, so it's nice and wide, and make it about down here so it's nice and fitting into the camera, and you can see that we have a pretty decent pawn. Now you can start playing with some things like turn the CPU to GPU, cycles, render engine, and in case you were wondering how this would look in Eevee, you can go from cycles to Eevee, and it doesn't look too fancy in Eevee, but it's fine if you like real time, if you're a real time fan. But in my case, I'm a cycles fan, and I'm gonna use cycles. So yeah, then all you have to do is make sure you save the file, and yep, that's all you need to do. Now again, big thank you to my dad for playing chess with me so I knew how to play chess, and I was able to make this amazing video for you guys. In the next video, I'll teach you guys how you can make a chess board, or maybe a rook or castle or something like that, but I'm really enjoyed today's video in making. And again, my final file will be available on my Patreon. If you don't know what my Patreon is an amazing basic site that is powered by Patreon, and it's having a lot of textures and all that stuff. It's crazy. Just go check it out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.